Yes, let's start.
So good afternoon, everyone. So nice to see all of you online. And finally, the COVID-19 times have got the Telangana committee to bring something to you. And here we are with our panel discussion to help us understand the key areas of concern during the COVID times. So COVID times, the sudden lockdown being declared, the first thing that we all thought about was the safety of children, and we had to shut down our schools and daycares. It was an unplanned, unseen, unpredicted times for all of us, and the world went onto a pause. We all are so used to the planning modes. For everything, we plan ahead for about two months or about 6 months or a year ahead. Even one day of annual day or a sports event in our school makes us plan for so many months with our children. But this has come unplanned for all of us. For an obvious reason, there was a lot of anxiety, unanswered questions, uh, both with the educators, with the parents, and also with the children. The children could see all the adults panicked around them, and a sudden change in their routines, which has brought about different changes in the way they started behaving and the way they started expecting or understanding the scenarios. So a much needed session for all of us, where today we want to actually talk about what to do and how to engage your children effectively uh, back home, and how we educators can help the parents and educate them to handle their children back home. With this, we would first start with our first panelist, Manjusha, who has been running a very successful preschool, Sprouts the Preschool, and she would be sharing with us her ideas on keeping children busy at home through engagement activities. Over to you, Manjusha.
Hi everybody, Manjusha here. Good to see you all. Just seeing your names is, brightening my day today. I think COVID has an immense effect on all of us, and we are at least able to express, we are able to connect, we are able to talk. But I'm really, really worried about our children and their emotional stress that they are going through. I think Arshia is going to talk about it, but today I want to talk a little about how can we change some of our practices while we are in lockdown. I mean, what kind of activities do we ask our parents to do? Because uh, basically, when you think about it, right, we have a lot of knowledge about how to deal with children and what activities we should do and things like that. But then when it comes to parents, they have relied on us to take care of all these things. I mean, they know to the most extent what to do, but now, I mean, they are looking up to us for more and more guidance from us. And given the current times, we are all, as parents and adults, we are all overbooked. So whenever you guys are sending activities or anything to the children, the first I wanted to tell you like few things that you guys have to keep in mind when we are designing our activities. I don't know how long COVID is going to, stay this way, and how much we have to support in a lockdown mode. Frankly, if you think about the play school arena and teaching online, it's really ridiculous. We can't even have the children sit and be engaged for more than 5 to 10 minutes in the school. And how are we going to equip our parents to, have them engage their children along with their office work, their household chores, and everybody is going to burn out, right? So I want to give you guys some thoughts about, how you can give the guidance to the parents so that, you are saving their day or you're making their life easy. The first and foremost I want all the teachers to keep in mind is like how can we come up with very highly engaging activities for kids. We all know that kids like novelty. So every day, I suggest that teachers should send a new kind of activity. And the second important point that I want you to think about is you should keep it very simple for parents. I mean, who all the posts that you see on Pinterest, and they all look very fancy, but then they also need a lot of adult work, like pretty pictures and things like that. I'm not into that. Let's get to the learning of it effective. I mean, we should focus on what learning we want to focus and how can we get there effectively. Then the last point that I want to talk about is like use the resources that are in the house so that parents don't have to run around. For example, I saw that some schools are sending out worksheets to be printed and done. I mean, simple activity like slanting line or sleeping line or whatever. They are now they are in immense pressure. Like the schools are in immense pressure. They want to show that there is some activity or worksheet or homework that is sent to the kids to engage them. In this whole process, they are designing worksheets online and sending them online. But then, what if the parent doesn't have, the printer at home? How are they going to, do it? And we don't want anybody to be left out. So whenever you're coming up with any activity, if it is worksheet based, think about how can I make it with physical activity. I mean, how can we make it into something that they can do? I'll give you a simple example. Let's say Sudoku, 4 by 4 Sudoku with pictures is like an amazing activity for children to do to develop their logical thinking. Like let's say 4 years, and then you put like a 4 by 4 easy Sudoku grid, and then you take out like few of those. Now, how do I make this into an activity that they can do at home without any resources like a printer or whatever? So you simply take a sketch pen, draw on the floor. You just draw a 4 by 4 grid. Bring out like coffee cups, water cups or tumblers, spoons and forks, 4 of each. And you are good to go with a 4 by 4 Sudoku. You just arrange them, pick up a couple of them out, and you're good to go. So this is how I want you to think about each and every activity. You have to think about all the resources that are available in any house. Like everybody will have spoons, coffee cups, tumblers, and then if it's not like some other chutney bowl or whatever, right? So just take a picture from your house and send it to their house, and they are ready to go with doing Sudoku in their house. And now if that is done, you change it with vegetables or fruits or crayons and sketch pens or whatever you want to do. So but now you have shown them a medium where they can actually execute it, and it is an amazing logical thinking development activity. So when we are in the offline mode, we do not want to teach our children things like write ABCs or teach them phonics, because lot of things can go wrong when parents get into teaching phonics to our children. So we need to focus on them when the school opens. We should not be asking parents ki abhi a say and likwa do. All those things are not needed, because even if they forget, we can bring them back into that mode once they come to school. So in this time, we have to focus on a different set of skills for the children to develop. The first thing is concentration. We have to work on the children's concentration, because any practical household, parents are going to get tired and they need times off, and the first thing they're going to resort to is a lot of screen time. We need to, although no matter how much we preach that screen should be avoided, probably it's not practically feasible for most of the households. So then how do you try to maintain their concentration in the time when the screen times are increasing? So we need to suggest games which will develop or increase their concentration. For example, you keep 4 objects on the floor and then you cover them with the dupatta and then ask them like, remove one and ask them which one is missing. Even a 3-year-old can play this game, and once they start playing these kind of games, you have to give them the steps. If a child is easily identifying which one is missing out of 4 objects, go for 5 objects or 6 objects, or you tell them how to increase the level, what is the next level for the parents, so that they can easily establish these kind of activities and then do them. So when they are at home, I feel that the skills that we need to be focusing on are like values. Usually, we do not have an opportunity to or the time to take time for teaching values as a family. I feel that values should be taught at home more than through moral stories. So in the current scenario, like what are you doing? What are you doing to develop that values or empathy or sympathy or whatever we want to do? So we need to talk to the children about what is happening and how we can be part of the society and help them. Like if we cannot make and distribute food, we can give them supplies or we can donate money, but make your children understand what you guys are doing, so that the children will understand the essence of what that value system is. So use this as an opportunity to guide your parents to talk about these things with the children. And then the second thing that we can suggest parents to focus on is the religion. Frankly, we celebrate all the various festivals and all that, but we do not get into the religious aspects of the celebrations. We only do the celebrations. So it is the best when they are taught at home. So this is the time when we want them to actually do that. So we can suggest parents to, take any choice. I mean, one might be Muslim, one might be Hindu. So we can ask them to teach their children something from their religion and map it to like how other religions also do similar things. If you take any religion, like the practices and the stories behind it might be different, but the thoughts are always the same. So your guidance to the parents should be such that the activity should be such that you are encouraging that unity or the common thread among the religion, and also gently nudge them towards like looking at a better side. We cannot divide our country at this time. We should unify them by reminding our parents. Then my most important aspect that we should focus on is teaching independence to our children. How do we do independence? How do we teach independence? They should be trained or self-helping themselves and things like that. So simple household activities. Every child from 2 years and above should be able to help around the house. And even if they're children below 2 years, they should be, when parents are working in the house, children should be right next to them, observing them. So send out a note to parents saying that, involve them in the cooking or involve them in the laundry or mopping or sweeping. This is the best age. Early childhood is the best age when children are so excited and enthusiastic about doing things or helping their parents around the house. So your guidance should be to the parents saying, involve them in folding laundry. Now you might ask like, what do you mean fold laundry for a 2-year-old? 2-year-olds can fold handkerchiefs. Now, if let's say the child is not ready to fold the handkerchief, can they sort the clothes? Like which one is dad's clothing versus which one is mom's and which one is hers? We can ask them to sort. So there are learning opportunities in every single aspect, and we need to draw the parents' attention to that. Now, some parents will be asking you questions like, why aren't you sending worksheets? Why aren't you sending homework? Make this a homework. Tell them that, once they come back, you will ask a 4-year-old to mix the dough and make a roti. That is their test. Then every parent will teach how to make rotis to their children, good or bad. Do you all agree with me? Type yes in the chat box if you agree. Awesome. Very limited, but yes. Thanks, guys. And the last but not the least is language development, right? when you are in a kitchen and when you are involving your children in the kitchen, wonderful things happen. To me, kitchen is one of that ultimate package where we can teach math, English, science, anything you want to teach, you can just teach in the kitchen. So make sure that you spend that time in the kitchen having meaningful conversations. And you have to give these ideas to parents are suddenly swamped with so much of work, and now you are asking them to take care of the children. Or let's say if the children are in the kitchen, they are going to make a mess, so I want them to be in front of the screen while I quickly finish this 5-minute thing. I'll tell you my own simple story, and you can quote this as your own story when you go. So beginning of this COVID lockdown, I said, you all guys have to help me. I went to both my children and said, you have to. And my 6-year-old daughter, she is very keen on mopping. And I said, fine. And it is not a perfect mopping, but I allowed her. Yesterday night, I wanted to finish off mopping, but I was just sitting there. My son came and said, can I do the mopping? And I was like very happy. Array, my task list is getting reduced, please. And then my daughter came fighting. I want to do that. And then we had to split it and say, like, you do half the mopping and you do the half the mopping. So children are so keen to help us. And if we look past the perfection for just couple of days, children will take care of those things for us. So you have to tell the parents that it is okay if it is not perfect. Let them do that for a couple of days, and then they will start helping you. So household chores, make sure that you make a list of all these household chores and you send it to the parents and say, like, involve them. 2-year-old, they can sort the vegetables, or 3-year-old, they can make the balls for the rotis or whatever. Or 4-year-old, they can actually start rolling with the rolling pin. Or 5-year-olds, they can do sweeping and mopping. They may not do a great job, but they should get started on it. And this is the time. And this is the time we remind them, because on the other days, you may have a maid or a cook, and you yourself may not be going into the kitchen. And these children may never have that opportunity to do it. Come 20 years later, when they have to go to college, by that time, I'm thinking house help may be reducing, and these people will not have the skills that they need to handle it. So use this COVID opportunity perfectly for teaching all children the necessary skills to do things around the house. I already talked about cooking. So that's it, guys. I guess my time is up. But think about how you make these activities. Keep the rest of the activities like writing ABCs or worksheets and all those things. Once they come back to school, we can have them do it. It doesn't take long. We can teach them everything that they want to learn at that time. Thank you.
Thank you, Manjusha. It was an amazing insight into how we can draft or design the activities and curate the activities for children. The emphasis on engaging children and not entertaining children through the online session was an important thing which you have actually underlined. The importance of life skills, the importance of moral values, and keeping a little learning outcomes and not taking too much of academic goals, so that the parents don't get the heaviness of the content being sent to them. And the activities which you have actually listed, like allowing them to play with the dough, to make atta, to mop and all that, will have a huge impact on their developmental domains.
Actually,
And children, yes, children love movement. And this is a lockdown time where they're not given enough opportunities to move. In the given space, if we take these activities, involving them into the household goals, and children like to take the authority, children like to get appreciated. That's why most of them play the game of Ghar Ghar Ka and teacher.
Exactly.
Because they like to take the roles of adults. So if you actually do this with them, it will be very, very easy for us to engage our children. And obviously, when they are happy, it talks about their mental health, mental well-being also. So thank you so much for that wonderful insight. So now as we come back to the crux of the entire discussion, that is how to engage our children during the lockdown times and how to take care of them. We have understood that the sudden lockdown has left parents with many unanswered questions or a lot of confusion. So here we have Prabhat Mandal, a parenting expert who would be giving us a little insight or simple tips on how we educators can answer the queries that are coming to us from parents, and we as parents can also use them back home. Over to Prabhat.
Thank you, Kausar. Good evening, everybody. Firstly, it's a lovely opportunity to share some of the thoughts, given the situation has locked us in, and we have agreed to do this for a larger good. Now, every take has a give also. So that's what we are facing certain challenges. As Manju was saying, a lot of home activities or home chores that can be delegated to children, and children can very happily grab those as an opportunity and start participating in the home affairs. It's a fantastic one. I'll start and I'll continue from there, and how a parent can take this forward. Doing household chores, let's say mopping or sweeping, is not a very simple activity. It requires a lot of physical energy. And one thing that children are missing being locked down inside the home is the outdoor exposure, where they run, jump, and have an exposure of a lot of physical work, which is not happening today. So these activities will help to exert, or rather spend, the energy they are generating every day. Given they are home, they're eating a lot, but that if energy is not spent, it's going to come out in many different ways, and most of the time unpleasant ways. So we need to spend that energy, and these activities help us. I'm going to add some more, which I did with my children, and to my surprise, it's something very simple. Like I was skipping one morning, and my children saw, and they said, "Papa, we cannot do this skipping on our own." I said, "Why not? You can also learn." They say, "Okay, teach us." I tried, being a coach it's a very high-headed thing. I can coach, I can teach. I started teaching them, but nothing went into their head. And at the end of the hour, I said, "Chodo jane do, you'll take some time and you'll learn on your own." I gave the rope to them and led them. By end of the day, they came and told, "Papa, we are able to skip 5 steps in a go." I said, "Wow, that's fantastic. You learned on your own." And they were very happy. Then next day they came, "Papa, we are able to do 10 also today." I said, "Wow, that's fantastic. My teaching was really utter waste in that case. You guys are far more intelligent." They did it. And the next day I said, "I want to see, you have to do it in front of me now." Both of them, they did 30 steps in 2 different styles. And they were super excited to go, up and the number. And then they asked me, "Papa, you showed the way you did it in the first day. We want to see that again so that we get." I saw that craving for that, how do we perfect our techniques? Everything was there, which will look into a perfect student without any interference, without any teaching. Actually, when I was teaching, all these things are missing. So what I'm saying here is physical activity also is done. They are being self-taught on their own, and they are super excited. What else I can ask for? What else a parent can ask for? Right? That's what happens when we give them enough of freedom. And that's what 2 things I want to give as a tip: that engage them in activities which require physical work. Jhadu, pocha, kuch is tarah ke games jisme skipping the rope. Or I have given them 2 more tasks, that once we get up in the morning, they need to arrange the bed. So folding the sheets, putting all the pillows, everything, they need to do it together. They take 1 hour extra, but that's fine. Yeah, we have to take that trade-off. And then in the front room, they rearrange the sofa and the chairs and whatever is there, and in different shapes. One day they make a pilot's cockpit, other day, like today, they made a fishing harbor. So they take 2 towels and then throwing the towels like a net and catching fishes. So I felt these are all self-engaged activities. I don't need to do anything. All I have to do is take some videos and boast about it. My children are doing it. All it requires is have fun from a distance. Okay. So first one is physical activity, and second one you might have already guessed is you need to give lot of freedom. Just because children are at home, if you sit on their head, then that's it, done. At school they get multiple faces. At home there are only 2 faces. Even worse. So at least make it 2 faces, if not 1. At home. So take turn by turn, give a lot of freedom, and then let them be on their own also. That's extremely important. That's second tip. Third tip, and all these are practical. I'm doing it every day. If a parent like me can do it, I'm sure all of you are much smarter than me. So you can do that. Third one, very simple one. When you want, since your children are missing other children's company, you know, they're not able to go out. They are not able to, you know, see other children face to face. At the most, some video call, but that's not working out all the time. So you need to play the role of giving them company. And mind it, an adult should not give in company. A child should give the company. They are not looking for an adult for a company. So you need to become a child with them. Then the authentic company they will experience. That essentially means you need to do all the silly things as a child you want to do. You need to do mistakes also. You cannot be perfect. Okay, and not knowingly, you know, naturally you have to do those mistakes, as if you have to take the risk as children take. Then only you will make mistakes. And you need to be in wonderment. You know, if something silly happens, you need to wonder, wow, that happened, just as small children wonder. If a ball rolls and rebounds, you need to wonder at that, wow, it rebounds. If you're playing carom and the striker goes 4 rounds, you need to wonder, just like a child. And if a coin flies off, you need to laugh at that also, just like a child. So be a child with your child. Then that's a true company. And if you give it one by one, so you get your time as well. Okay, you can do full family time also during the day sometimes, as your routine and time permits. Okay, at the same time, I would also want, since parents, I'm asking everybody, all the parents, to go and spend your time. You know, it's very, very, very important to spend time with yourself also. Child development is very important. Parent development also is important. Okay, and that completes parenting. If you're not developing yourself, parenting is still half. So you need to develop yourself. And how do you develop yourself? First, give yourself some time, exclusive for yourself only. That's your me time. You may do whatever. Okay, however little you take, but that me time is important. All right. And in that me time, you need not glued to the WhatsApp, which is 50% of the time we are spending, 12 hours on WhatsApp. Some survey showed that we are spending 12 hours on WhatsApp. So that's not me time. Okay, that's WhatsApp time. You have to reduce that and get me time, which is with yourself. Maybe listen to yourself. Maybe do some silent gardening. Maybe read something. You know, or just go and count the stars in the night. Okay.
Right.
That's me time you have to give it. All right. And it's extremely critical. If you are not able to manage this, you will not be able to manage children. You'll always complain, my children are troubling. And how do I manage my troubling children? So they are having fun. You also have fun. And final tip. All the parents will be really worried about eating food. Now, unless you keep on, binging all the time, children will not. And don't offer just for the sake of offering. Have only, as many number of meals you take other regular days. Not like every 1 hour, every 2 hour, मुंह चलते रहना चाहिए. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. Otherwise, they think that's normal. And then your me time will never come. You'll continue cooking only. Even better, let me give you what I did. I give some raw material to my children. Okay, you want to eat? Their raw material is a cook. Mix something and have yourself. If they want to eat fruit, okay, take the fruit, wash it. If you want to cut it yourself in front of me and have it. And I'm not going to do all those things for you. Okay, you do yourself. And at times, sometimes my cooking time also comes. So my cooking time, and that's my final tip. Okay, time. I'm just looking at the time also. Kausar is already looking at me. So when I cook, I don't cook elaborate things. I make a very simple plain base. Like pizza का base होता है ना, वैसा मेरा food का base होता है. And it could be very simple like boiled rice, boiled barley, or a plain roti. And I ask children, what do you want to do with it? How do you want to eat this? And they come up with creative ideas every day. If let's say take plain barley, they say, Papa, today you put fennel seeds, put chia seeds, put little chaat masala, and put little ghee. That's it. Other days they say, Papa, nothing, put little jaggery in that. And they prepare this and they give me this. I'm not going to break my head on this. My base is ready. You tell me what you want to eat. And they eat on their own full bowl. मुझे बोलना भी नहीं पड़ता है. And that's what children bless. When we give them freedom, they bless us with a lot of freedom. And that is my final word. If you give freedom, you'll get freedom. As a parent, that's my mantra. And I offer it to you. Thank you so much for the kind listening.
Thank you, Prabhat. It was so wonderful to get parenting tips from a papa. In a mummy-driven country of parenting, it's very difficult to bring a daddy getting into the parenting and sharing his experiences with us. So that was a little touching part for all of us. Here, I'm sure many of them will agree. The physical activity, freedom, becoming a child, all of this that when you were saying, I was wondering that we also do this back. I also started doing that with my child, wondering for everything and he did. So suddenly now he has become this pro person who's coming back to me and saying, so you don't know this, so I am letting you know. So he has accepted the fact that his mama doesn't know anything and he's letting me know. You may not know, so I'm making you aware of it. I said, okay. And that's the way it's going to be. And I'm also thinking of the way things are going to be after the lockdown. And I'm imagining a preschool where all the teachers are going to behave like children. And suddenly children may be asking our helper aunties, can we do the mobbing and, cleaning of the class? I'm thinking of those scenarios that may be another set of challenge that we all may see. So thank you so much, Prabhat, for this. Now let us come to our next speaker, understanding that this sudden lockdown has brought about so much of a change, not just we ourselves have started seeing that initially. Now we have somehow adjusted to so many things. With a sudden change in routine, sudden change in environment, the people around them, even the food that they were eating, so many things have changed in the lives of children. This has certainly brought about a change in the way they have started behaving. Many children are giving you behavioral tantrums, they are getting angry, or many other issues. So here we have Sumana, who's an educational therapist, who will share with us few tips to handle extreme behaviors of children and the special needs of children. Sumana, over to you for the next 10 minutes.
Thank you, Kausar. Hello, everyone. I am Sumana, an educational therapist. I'd like to share a few tips with you in this period of lockdown, which you can do with your children. When I look back to the regular schedule, the children who have special needs, their day was packed with sessions of going for OT, speech therapy, maybe remedial session, maybe school also. But right now, they're locked down at home with almost a one-man army, or rather one-woman army, I should say, and that's the mother, who is trying to balance household chores. Along with it, she is trying to balance her duties towards her special child. So very briefly, I'll go through a 10-pointer of what we can do to help out these children who are having special needs. My first tip to the mother is, please take a break, sit down, calm down, take a deep breath, and look back into the last 1 week. When you look back, there will definitely come up in your mind some instances where you felt your child was under anxiety, he was agitated for some reason. Note down at least 5 such points. Once you do that, those instances you write down, you then write about try to identify what were the triggers because of which the child was showing those behavioral changes. I'm sure you will be able to locate them. And once you identify those triggers, make sure they are either removed or they're altered so that the child does not show such behavioral changes for the next instance. My next tip is, do not allow the television to blare COVID data throughout the day. It agitates you, and that agitation boils down to your child. Especially if the child is a special needs child, he is extremely sensitive. And your agitation definitely gets boiled down first to your special needs kid in the house. My third tip is, whatever diet, exercise, and sleep routine that was already proposed to your child should be continued as it is. Do not try to change it. Any diet restriction that was already proposed earlier by therapists or whatever, wherever he was going to, that should be followed even now. Don't drop it under any circumstances. My fourth tip to you is, whenever you see as a mother, you will be the first one in the house to identify any behavioral changes in your child. Whenever he shows some anxiety for any reason, any agitation, I'm sure as a mother, you'll be the first to see that. Whenever you do that, go close to your child and show him some stress management, stress busters. It can be simple things like just rubbing your hands or pressing your hands to your cheeks. You teach the child, do these things with their child, or maybe taking a deep breath, blowing hard, anything which calms down the child. But make sure they are done discreetly so that next time when the lockdown is over, hopefully, at that time when the child tries to calm down on his own, the others don't look at him. So he should not draw anyone's attention. He should do them discreetly, and you practice them with your child and teach him these things now. This is a good time to teach this to him. The next thing that I would suggest, and what even Prabhat and Manjusha also said, let your child join you in your household chores. And of course, don't instruct him or tell him this is your work and you need to do it. No child likes to do that. Instead, when you are doing the work, make him join hands with you. Maybe when you are tucking the bed sheet on one side, he can help you to tuck the bed sheet the other side. Or maybe when you're washing the dishes, give him a dry, soft napkin and let him wipe those dry, and maybe your husband can join and put them back onto the rack. A good family time it will be, and it will teach your child a lovely life skill. The next thing I'd like to talk about is, this is a time when you can sit with your child and read lots of storybooks. And children with special needs, they generally crave for lots of sensory stimulus. So once you read the storybook, I'd suggest take dough from the kitchen, make the shape of the characters you read about, and design your own puppet play. Children with special needs have immense imagination, and I'm very sure you'll have the most beautiful puppet show possible in your house. Please try it out. My next suggestion, I'd say, is this is the time when your children are missing their OT sessions and other such activities which go on in school too. So I would suggest that now make it a challenge in the house. Make crawling, hopping, skipping, rolling, any such activity a family effort. Of course, I know we also are putting on weight as parents. So let us also join the child. Let it be a challenge, a family exercise time. So it will be a family exercise time for you, but for your child, it will be an OT session only. But he'll enjoy it because you are all there with him to enjoy it. My next suggestion will be, this is also the time when you can use to teach empathy to your child, empathy to plants, animals, birds. So as such, I would suggest, I know all those takeaway Swiggy and Zomato dabbas are lying unused at home. So why don't you take just 2 of them, make one of them a bird feed for the bird grains and one maybe for water. Tie them near your child's window, take his help, you can even decorate it, and let your child watch with wonder when every day the birds come flying down to his windows. You can also teach him to water the plants, take care of the plants in your house. And one more thing that I would suggest is every night with your child, go out of the house, keep a bowl of water and at least 2 chapatis or a little rice outside your house for the stray dogs. This is something that your child will treasure for life. One more that I'd like to say is instead of watching all live entertainment shows on TV, why don't you design your own entertainment show? And to make it more interesting, make your own lemonade, make your own popcorns at home with your child, arrange the chairs, draw the curtains, draw the blinds, and have a show. Let each member of the family come up with one performance, maybe telling a rhyme, singing a song, anything. Even your child will participate and he too will do whatever he has planned to do. And one thing I now see is most of these activities, immediately we try to record and share on the social media. Instead of doing that, I'd suggest let your child have the live motivation then and there in the show that you have organized. Why I would say better to avoid it posting on social media is because in the social media, we always try to put our best foot forward. And that can become a challenge for a child with special needs. But he is free to act the way he wants in front of all of you. So have your live show, entertainment show in front of everyone in the house. And last but not the least, which we all are trying to repeat, reduce screen time. Though I know all our WhatsApp, Facebook is full of messages to download this video, go through this YouTube, go through this and that. But for a child with special needs, it's a taboo, I should say, to expose him to too much screen time. The least he's exposed to is best for him. I think the tips I said will be helpful for you. Over to you, Kausar. Thank you.
Thank you, Sumana. It was really, really insightful. Some of my important takeaways from your session was importance of observing your child, going back and thinking, self-reflection, which you told, thinking why the child is behaving like this is a very important tip that you have underlined. Not panicking ourselves with so much of news. I so much agree to that. Even mothers are getting panicked. Think about the children. I get panicked seeing the numbers sometimes, so we can understand what you're trying to say. Importance of stress buster, importance of using puppets to retell the stories, so that way they may be actually living through the story is a very good idea, and the live show. Having said all this, all of us, this is to the audience, all of us are giving these tips for the parents. We don't mean that we are trying to make you run out of business. We are asking all of you to actually ensure that this goes along with good academic goals, and you package or curate a program, and using these tips, you can give it to parents. So these are not directly going to parents. I'm sure they need an educator's insight into it, a proper curation from your end to go to the parents. Thank you, Sumana, for this. Now we have our last panelist, ECA-APER, a seasoned educator, a founder of a very successful preschool chain of India, which has actually seen the growth in a very short time with her presence. That energy spur is what we can see through her session, which is going to be on social emotional learning. Now, with so much of a time that children are spending inside the houses during the lockdown, with less number of opportunities to get the social emotional experiences, this is certainly one area of concern for all of us. Movements, yes, we are trying to bring in by engaging them in the household chores. But what do we do about their social emotional learning? So here we have Arishia, who's going to help us understand how to bring social emotional learning into our into the lives of our children. Over to you, Arshia.
Thank you, Kausar. I just want to start off by saying I'm so proud of all of us here at ECA and Swati ma'am for helping the entire early childhood community so beautifully. I'm really, really proud of all of us. So big round of applause to everybody watching and my fellow panelists as well. I'd like to start by telling you that I strongly believe that educating the heart is as important as educating the mind. Children that are equipped with better social and emotional skills have better attention, retention, understanding, and learning skills. They also have better stress responses, healthier bodies too in most cases. This means that they can ace emotions like empathy, compassion, respect, and problem solving. I have always said there is strength in character. And this character building happens in the early years of the child. I'm sure all of us agree. So one of the major skills I advocate is to teach children how to get back on their feet once they fall. This is the most essential skill according to me. Whether they do it independently or they ask for help, they must get up and try again. Now, to explain simply how this SEL works, that's social emotional learning, I'll just quickly take you through the 6 core competencies to make it easier. The first one is self-awareness. So that is to help the children understand and identify the emotions they're feeling, their thoughts, their behaviors. I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm angry. You can make or use smiley lollipops, atta smileys, like Sumana also said, you could have atta and smileys, ask the children to make those, smiley masks for different emotions. Now here's my favorite, face your emotion. Call out the words or the emotion names and the child will select the face for it. Happy, sad, something like that. So I tried making these at home last night. These are with just plain paper and just chopsticks from Swiggy. Next, I have the happy, sad sorting game, where we have flashcards or actual pictures from magazines or newspapers. You don't really have to search a lot. And you make columns where you have a happy face, a sad face, an angry face, etc. And you ask the child to put these pictures in the appropriate column so that they can recognize these emotions. Ask them also, when was the last time you think that they felt this emotion? When did they last feel happy or sad? Next is very simple. You ask them to basically to act out their feelings. Sleepy, hungry, I'm hungry, I'm sad, I'm happy. So you just tell the name and let them act it out. Something like Dam Sharad. Or you can have an empty face which has just eyes, draw the eyes and ask them to draw the emotion, like an upward facing curve or a downward curve for being sad. Now the first thing is they've identified their emotions. Now comes communicating these emotions. So first we need to provide a safe environment for children to express their emotions. Always remember, unexpressed feelings of grief, anxiety, ultimately lead to maybe rage or anger even. So let them express their emotions. They want to be heard. Talk to them, interact with them. You could assign a piece or a safe corner where the child can go and sit if he's unhappy, angry, etc. You can also have a piece of safe helper for the child at home and school, whoever it is, and they can approach that person to communicate their feelings. As most of them have rightly said, my fellow panelists, that stories are very essential. So stories about feelings and emotions are really, really good. And one of the things you could do is you could have utensils, saris, whatever you have in the house. So this is something I'm echoing from Sumana, and they can enact a play or a story at home. They could do the Ramayan, they could do whatever. You could have music, songs, dance. Now something I love is puppets. So you could have, so I made this last night. It's a little silly puppet. His name is Socky. So sometimes children don't connect to you. So you could probably have a puppet, give it a name like Socky and say, how are you feeling today, Kausar? Are you feeling sad today? Come, talk to me about it. Something like that. Now I'll just ask my fellow panelists, when I put my hand on my ear, here I'd ask Prabhat to unmute himself, and Kausar. So when I put my hand on my ear, you just repeat what I'm saying. When I'm sad, I feel like crying.
When I'm sad, I feel like crying.
Thank you, Kausar. When I'm angry, I look this way.
When
When
I'm
I'm angry, I look
this
this
way.
way.
When I'm happy, I smile all day.
When I'm
When I'm happy, I smile all day.
So you could do this with the children. After they identify, communicate their emotions, we basically teach them how to manage these emotions. I'll tell you simple tricks for this. You could have reflection time for the children. You could have yoga and meditation together as a family at home. Now, something I love, there's this game called bubble popping exercise. So you make soap bubbles, ask the children, blow them, ask the children to burst all the bubbles. I know Prabhat is going to love this one. The second time you blow the bubbles, you tell the children not to burst any bubble. And say, even if it comes and sits on your nose, you can't burst it. Basically, this is for self-control. So even when you're tempted, you're not doing something. Now, next I'll tell you about mixed feelings. I'll just give you an example to explain that. I cannot go out, so I'm sad. But I'm spending a lot of time with my family, so I'm happy. I'm helping mommy in the kitchen, so I'm proud. See how beautifully you can help them express mixed emotions. You can also help them manage complex emotions. If he needs to understand that he needs to be at home for a couple of days more, he may feel a little sad. You give him a brave badge. He'll feel brave and happy. He'll be proud of himself. Basically, self-regulation is essential to help children control responses to unmet needs, wants. It helps them handle disappointments and failures. Next, social awareness, which is something I really advocate, is to teach children to show respect, acceptance, understanding, and empathy towards others. Now, this is something I know Sumana will strongly agree with. So if there is a difference, encourage them to accept this difference. Here, simple emotions that you need to keep track of are gratitude. Talk about maybe the COVID frontliners. Make them understand how grateful we are to them. Remember, you need to basically weave gratitude into everyday conversations. Next, talk about sharing. Create opportunities for children to share. And after they do share, like maybe a toy with their sibling, show them how beautiful and happy it feels to be sharing. Empathy, about how someone else feels, putting yourself in someone else's shoes. You can talk about characters from stories, from something they've watched, about what that character is feeling. Remember, non-verbal communication and understanding another person's body language is very, very important. And I'm sure everybody, especially the married people here, would agree that sometimes someone feels sad, they need a hug. Sometimes that same person is angry and they need a space. So they just want you to basically stay away. So it's very important that, we understand each other's body language. So exactly like this, accepting diversity and respecting it is such an important part of social awareness. Understanding each other as humans. So this is essential for a healthy functioning society. Next, I'll just simply rush through relationship building and resolving conflict. Now, I'm sure all of us would love for our children to have this sort of a skill. You could do a beautiful play together where all the characters need to work together. And like all my fellow panelists have already talked about, you need to have scheduling of chores at home. Ask the children to do what they want, what they feel like Prabhat said, freedom, give them the freedom to do things together. So doing this work at home together is going to make them feel very useful and important as well. Play games that require teamwork so that they can work with each other. An important game and an important skill to remember is waiting for your turn. So when two children are playing with each other, they need to know how to wait for their turn. First they play, after 10 minutes, I get the same turn. And something I'm going to really advocate, and I love this movie, I want all of you to advise the parents to go ahead and watch this movie with your children. It's called Inside Out. Now there are characters in this movie, which are, each character is a feeling, like there's happiness, there is anger, and there is someone who's sad. So all these characters are inside a toddler, and the whole movie is beautiful. The most important things in our life are relationships. In fact, our most treasured memories from childhood are tied to people and social and emotional connections. Remember, not to places or things. Which brings me to my last point, responsible decision making. We need to help children to make responsible decisions. What does that mean? They need to consider choices wisely, think about these choices and the consequences of these choices. Then they need to understand how their choices are going to affect others, not just themselves. We need to teach the children not to be impulsive. Of course, this is tough, but I'm trying to make it a little easy. Why is this important? Because a lot of older children have anxiety and depression. That's because when they were younger, they weren't sure how to make a decision on their own. It was very difficult for them. So by a simple funda I have, it's called SODAS. S for explaining the situation. O for giving them options. D, explaining disadvantages of these options. A, advantages of these options. And last, the other S is finding the solution. Now, instead of explaining this whole thing, I'll just give you a small example. My sister threw a paper ball at me. That is the situation. Now, options are throw the paper ball back. Second, tell a parent. Third, just ignore her. So the disadvantages and advantages, I'll give you one or two. For example, the disadvantage of telling a parent could be that your sister will get angry with you and she may not want to play with you. An advantage of ignoring her could be that, she'll just think, oh, okay, he's ignoring, it didn't affect him. So, you could be really cool about it. So something like that. In the end, you ask them to choose the solution. After that, you ask them, why did you choose that? How do you feel now? How did the other person feel? What do you do now? Remember, difficult choices and choosing the responsible option leads to actual growth. Analyzing a situation, self-reflection, taking up responsibility, and repairing the damages. These are basic problem-solving skills. So guys, I would like to just conclude by saying that learning should be a social process, providing children with emotional and social nourishment. And my favorite line that I love to repeat everywhere is, let us create memories and experiences for our children, not expectations. So even in this COVID times, everything will become a memory, everything will become an experience. So let us just create wonderful experiences for them. Thank you guys. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Arshia. This was really good. Some of the important takeaways for me from your session is you have emphasized on importance of self-control, importance of taking responsibilities, and you have actually touched the heart. So, we have actually covered the entire theory of body, mind, and heart into learning, which is what Gandhiji has said. It said learning is a process where the body, mind, and heart is involved. So through our session, through the activities that all of our panelists have, shared with us, we have actually covered a theory which was formulated many, many years back. So with this, we come to the end of our session. Some important pointers that I understand as I sum the entire session up is we need to involve our children into the household chores. Please look into the safety when you are involving them with water activities or when you are bringing them little closer to the stuffs. But do involve them into the household chores and do not look at the end result of what they're doing. The process is important, not the product. This is one important takeaway for us. Another important takeaway is please inculcate stories, not just looking at stories, but in role modeling the stories, involve puppets. As a family, you all can actually do a drama or a skit out of the story. This is a very beautiful way of taking out your, a family time or a teamwork, or also showing your emotions. Importance of yoga, importance of game, importance of conversations, giving children freedom and making them move their body around, actually getting into the activity and not just reading out the activity or just listening to the activity is important. With this, we end our session. And I think, Prabhat, are we on time? Prabhat.
Absolutely on time.
Absolutely.
We are absolutely on time. So that's what ECA does. We value time. And thank you so much, all of you, that all of you have given your 1 hour of your lockdown time to all of us. Time is the most precious thing that anybody can give to anyone. If you have given that 1 hour of your time, trusting that we could do justice to it, I'm sure you have gone back with some very, very important learnings. And I myself, I am going back with a lot of learning on my page. You know, I have a lot of notes with me now, which I need to work on. Thank you, everyone. And we will come back with our second session. As we told you, this is the first session. We will come back with the second session. This session was more to do with what kind of activities we can create and what kind of problems. This was entire crux was related to children, but I'm thinking of doing a session more related to the administrative problems that we all are facing, the influx or the imbalance of the fee and how to deal with it with the parents, how to deal with the expenditures, how to deal with the staff during this time. Let us all come together and discuss that problem in our next session. Thank you, everyone, and bye. Do drop in
Thank you,
your
everybody.
feedback in our WhatsApp groups too.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.